Hi, we are live for the Word Two Queens.
Hello. Are
So
we excited?
let's see. No one's on the comments yet, but if you just want to, I'm sure you guys have seen the other lives, but Issa, if you want to introduce yourself and your channel.
Yay. So I'm Isa from the channel Fun Fantasy Books. I mainly read fantasy and basically create content around it, book recommendations, reviews, and occasionally I do book recaps so that you can skip the reread. But it's mainly reviews and recommendations at this point. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am Jess from Honest Fiction, and I pretty much do the same thing, just a little bit more romance on my channel, contemporary, and then fantasy romance.
Yay.
Yeah. So this is our reread of this book. We have both already read this book once. Issa, what did you rate it on your reread?
So I believe this is at 2.5 stars, but I can give it 3 stars. I am comfortable with it being like there's a lot going on, but definitely I enjoyed it more the first time around. Hiya, Hannah.
Hi, Hannah. So I am the complete opposite. I actually rated it a little bit higher. The first time I read this book, I rated it like 2.5. This time around, it's probably closer to 3.5.
Not bad.
Yeah. Hi.
Hiya, Jane.
So we get a lot of information in this book. A lot of things come into play. So one of the big changes was we get Castile's POV.
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
Actually, for me, it's one of the best things that this book has. I was really excited because even if I loved Cass in book one, I felt that in book two and three, he was a little bit overshadowed by his love of Poppy and by Poppy overall. So I was really excited to have his point of view and to see a little bit more about his trauma and everything that happened. It wasn't. Hi, Tori.
Hi, I'm so sorry. My camera was like not working. I didn't know what was happening.
It's all good.
Okay. But I'm here.
We're talking about Cass's point of view in this story and how we felt about it. And I was just saying that it's one of the best things here. I was really excited to get into it. It at the end this was a little bit disappointing to me because it started really good, but eventually it became repetitive and just a lot around the love that he feels for Poppy. But I can understand that he is being traumatized and he is not being well fed. And so maybe he is not being, profound and deep and everything that I wanted. But I really enjoyed that part. One of the best things. What about you guys? Did you enjoy?
I mean, I feel the same way. I liked it at the beginning just because, we finally get Kaz's point of view and we finally get to see a lot of things. And I mean, I'd love seeing him like get all lovey-dovey about Poppy. So like I didn't really mind it too much, but
Yeah.
I like for the plot of the story, it did become repetitive. Like we didn't need to see the same exact thing from his point of view,
Agreed.
So I actually hated his chapters. And I was so looking forward to them before reading this book. Two things, one of them being the narrator. There's a guy narrator for the audiobook. I was not a fan of the way he did that character. He kind of had like a posh British accent, and I wasn't about it. And I feel like Cass lost a lot of his like charisma in his book. Like he just wasn't as like strong of a character, and I was expecting him to be stronger now that we have his POV.
Yeah. No, I can definitely agree with that. I actually think that he is only now kind of like the companion of Poppy. He is not as much a character in terms of a strategizer or a powerful warrior or cunning. He is there.
Yeah.
His queen. Hiya.
Hi.
I definitely think it turned into more of with like his point of view and like seeing a lot of it. Like I don't know. I like characters when they like are both equally strong and then like they go forth to like together and they conquer everything and they do everything. I also just read The Anti-Heroes in Love Duet again, and Fontaine and Elena are very much like that. And so like seeing them in this book, I definitely agree. Kaz lost some of that. He like takes a back seat. I mean, I understand Poppy is Poppy and she is very powerful, but like he is also very powerful in his own way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Poppy gets a lot more power in this book. How do you feel like she deals with that? Because I feel like she spent a lot of this book like worrying that she was going to be the harbinger of death, and is worried that she's going to lose control.
Yeah. I don't really enjoy the fact that Poppy is now super overpowered, like she is the master of the universe almost. But taking that aside, I really think it made sense how she manages the situations. She feels, or at least when I was reading it, to me, it felt that she wasn't really knowing her powers yet. And she is scared about her own self and what is the extent to what she can do. She gets emotional and she loses the control of her powers. So I thought all of that made sense because she's really new to it. So to me, it made sense how she reacted and how she is slowly but surely getting to know her powers. But I am not so much of a fan of her being that powerful at this stage. But
Yeah.
what about you guys? What do you think?
I don't know. I have conflicting thoughts. I felt like it was getting really repetitive with her constantly being like, I don't want to lose control and like second guessing herself. And I feel like that kind of goes back just to the pacing of the first half of the book. I felt like this was the worst paced book out of all of them. Like the entire first half of this book, I struggled to get through. Tori, what did you end up rating this on your reread since you weren't here?
Oh, I didn't like count it as a reread because I skipped the first half. Because it's like I think I gave it 5 stars. I guess when the first time I read it, I have to look at Goodreads only because it's very nostalgic to me. Like it's just I like it, but I can acknowledge that there definitely is issues with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I reread it, I skipped, like I listened to the first and second chapter, Kaz's point of view, and then Poppy's point of view, whichever the first couple chapters were, and then like I skipped to like the really interesting parts. So I didn't technically like re-rate it just because I didn't get through all of it.
Yeah. Let's see. Isa, least in the guest grid I read. Cass definitely didn't have much character development. Yeah.
See, that was one thing that I mean, the series isn't finished, right? So like, I'm like, okay, we give it till the end of the series to see really how everything plays out. And obviously most of these books are about Poppy, like obviously her being extremely powerful. And Cass was already so set in himself from the previous books. Like he knew who he was, what he was doing, how powerful he is, what he can and can't do, like all those things, right? And I want Cass to have his moment, so I'm hoping that at some point it happens in the last. Isn't the last book? Oh, we have 2 more books.
So I don't know if this next book that's in his POV counts as the 5th book because this was only supposed to be 5 books.
But isn't it 6 books though?
I don't know.
Let's figure it out quickly.
I don't know if she's actually said that or not.
I thought she said it was going to be 5, but I also had no idea she was releasing an entire new fantasy series next month. So that was exciting to find out.
Oh, this is news to me.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in this world, right?
No, it's completely like separate.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I would also really love that, like for Cass to have his moment and for him to shine and all of his power to be there.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're reading the Flesh and Fire novels in tandem, and you see, well, from the last book, you can see like both characters are powerful in their own way. You know what I mean? And they're like in the first book, they are, I mean, they're equal. Like you see that in there, they are equal. And I just feel like Kaz is like taken such a step back when before it was kind of like them too. And like the second and third book, they were really like them going together. But now it's like he has definitely taken a step back. And I don't know. I'm like, you are powerful. You're just as powerful in your own way. I want that moment.
It will be. You're right, Tori. It's going to be 6 books. She did announce that. So it's going to be this book that's coming out in his POV and then another book, I think, to end it.
Isn't it in November? A Soul of something? Is it that one?
No, that's the Wait. One of them is the prequel.
The titles. Past this book, past A War of Two Queens, the titles. I'm just like, I don't know.
A Soul of Ash and Blood is book 5.
Okay.
And that is Cass' point of view of the story.
Yes.
Is it the continuation, so it picks up, or it is kind of like us seeing the story from his point of view since book 1? Because, like,
so I thought it was supposed to be seeing his point of view since book 1, but I think she posted somewhere saying you have to read this after you've already read the first 4 books, and it's gonna like do stuff that takes place after this book.
Okay, so it says, only his memories can save her. A great primal power has risen. The queen of flesh and fire has become primal of blood and bone. The true primal of life and death. And the battle Castile, Poppy, and their allies have been fighting have only just begun. Cass faces the very possibility that the dire and unexpected consequences of what she is becoming could take her away from him. Kaz is given some advice, though, something he plans to cling to as he waits to see her beautiful eyes open once more, talk to her. So he does. He reminds Poppy of how their journey began, revealing things about himself that only Karen knows in the process. It says it's the next installment, but this is how Hawk gets to tell the tale. So I think it's just a rehashing of the first 3 books.
In his POV.
Yes.
And I just realized it's probably going to be that same male narrator that I don't like.
Yeah, I don't like him as a narrator.
I didn't recognize him. I don't know if I've heard any other books he's in. But the one that's releasing in November got moved up to October, and that's A Fire in the Flesh.
That is great news.
And that's the 3rd book in
the Flesh and Fire.
And it does say the 6th book is a primal of blood and bone, but there's no
blood and bone. Are we going to have a new power?
I don't know, but then they also have a book 7 that's untitled.
What?
But it doesn't have anything, so I don't know if it's just like an extra, because it does have a Visions of Flesh and Blood, which is like a companion novel as told by Miss Willett Collins. So that's also in here, but I don't know what they're doing.
Well,
yeah. Okay.
She's been busy. She's been clearly busy.
Yeah. So, I'm definitely interested in Kaz's point of view, but I don't have my hopes up as in like it's gonna be the best thing.
No.
Unfortunately.
I guess we'll see. Okay, going back to this book. So a lot of things happen at the end of this book, and we find out a lot of like big reveals. Was there any that was super shocking to you that you weren't expecting the first time you read this?
I actually didn't expect Millie to be Poppy's sister. I know it was hinted that she had a sister, but I completely forgotten everything about this. And when I read it, it was like, what? It really came as a shock. And how Poppy processed that news didn't really help me, because she was like, cool, fine, next. And I was like, well, I guess that's what I need to do also. Cool.
I'm happy you brought that up, because when I was rereading that, I actually highlighted it. And I was like, she handled that very well. Like,
right? Like, I don't know if she knew it or if she doesn't care, or again, if her powers and everything that she's been dealing with is just making them all a little bit weird in terms of how they process everything. I don't know. Did you expect it, Tori?
I've come after, like this book. Nothing surprises me. Like I just take it for what it is, and it's just like, okay, I'm here for the ride. That's kind of how I see
it. Someone said, y'all, this series is going off the rails. I'm enjoying it, but definitely feel like 3, A Crown of Gilded Bone, has been my fave so far. A lot is happening. A lot happened in this book. There was a part in the very beginning, and I don't have the line with me, but Reaver has to make a reason why he doesn't know information he should know. And like, I think Jennifer L. Armentrout like realized as she was writing this that she accidentally, like, he overheard a conversation. He was in the room. So she like scapegoats it and is like, oh, I wasn't paying attention during that conversation. So like little things like that, I just feel like are really messy that go on in this book.
Yeah. We discussed it a little bit before, but I think that for the stage in which we are, which is book 4, we are still learning so much about the world building. I'm still very confused, and it really maddens me. Maybe is a strong word, but it doesn't feel right that we're here. We have reread this book, right? Well, this series, and I, for once, still don't really understand what is happening, and that even if she keeps bringing stuff to the table, like Millie is your sister, Malik is not bad, Colis is awakened or not, like, all of this stuff, I am really having a tough time managing how to understand all of that at this point, you know.
I think that's a very fair point, and I think a lot of people feel that way,
Yeah.
honestly. And I do not blame people. Like, while I am a huge fan of this, I can understand that. What I personally think happened is that like the first couple books were pretty solid, but I think it's because she didn't release them, like write them and release them so quickly. But now she's like releasing these massive books every what, like 6 months or something?
Yeah.
That's a lot for her to write and then have editors go through and then rewrite and then have editors. And I'm like, okay, I feel like you missed the editor at one point, you know, where you're just like not keeping up with a lot of things. So no, I definitely think that there are a lot of things that like definitely could have been
Yeah.
reworked just a little
Yeah.
bit.
And the thing that you said, yes, also maybe not the same, but at the end we have Nectas, right, explaining everything, and he's like, there's no time to explain the whys, it will take us too long. And I was like, but I need them at this point, like why, you know? So it just, the choices at times were like something we learn and relearn because it wasn't what we thought, and other times we don't get as much explanation, and it sometimes make me wonder if she knows it, like if she has already come up with this or not yet.
Yeah, I wonder, I don't know if she's ever said this. I wonder if she's a plotter, or I forgot the other word, just like just writing.
Okay.
Because like as a plotter, I feel like for a fantasy you should be a plotter. You know what I mean? At least like have things right now. But I feel like with the world building, like you said, Issa, it's like she's just like, you know, From Blood and Ash was like this, and then A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire got a little bit bigger, and then a bigger, and then she's like expanding it, but she's bringing in the Flesh and Fire novels at the same time, and it's just like this bigger and bigger. And it's like, well, you don't have time to explain everything because these books are already so big, but at the same time, you keep expanding it, so people are getting confused. Like, where are we going? Like, how much bigger is it going to be?
Yeah.
And I think when she added the prequel series is when it started getting like super convoluted, because she's trying to put these two things together, and it's a lot. Although I do like some of it. Like I love seeing Reaver as a young, what do they call that dragon? Whatever.
Draken.
Draken in A Shadow in the Ember, and then seeing him as an adult that doesn't like to wear clothes in this book.
And
so
I admire her for doing these. I really like the idea of blending these god primal into what we're reading. I just think that, well, it is a little bit confusing, but when you're reading it, it's like, okay, I don't necessarily understand, but I'm here for it. But it's just like, if you analyze it, it's not well done, but if you don't overthink it, it's like, well, it was fine, you know, that vibe.
Yeah.
Bye.
What did you guys think about Malek being the Dark One?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I don't know. Like, just nothing kind of surprises me. I don't know. I mean, I had like my theories, you know what I mean? Like before the first time I read this book. But I don't know, just the way that like there wasn't that much explanation about him or like anything about him, you know?
Yeah.
Now I was like, well, he's obviously doing something and has been doing something. So I guess here we are, you know?
Yeah.
I thought it was Colas the entire time.
Oh, you thought so?
Yeah, I thought it was Colas. And then when I was reading this, I was like, I guess Malek does make sense. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Issa?
I thought well, the first time I thought it was going to be the son of Isbeth, like the one that is supposed to be dead or lost or something. I thought, like, no, he's there and he's going to play a role later on in the books. So I was kind of surprised about Malik being the dark one, but also, again, it felt a little bit weird how Poppy processed that information. Like, it was me, and then, but I didn't kill you because reasons. Well, let's manage this later. And it was like, it was a tough time for me because I wasn't expecting it, and how Poppy processed it didn't help me to process it as well, with her.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because that was an event that traumatized her. Like, she's having nightmares about it all the time, and then when she finds out what happened, she's very like cavalier about it.
I mean, if we are fair, like, she has other major stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
So it, like, forget the past, move forward. But yeah.
But part of me also with that, I really would want to see her like lose control. Like when you have, I mean, you think about it, she has constant worry about her almost losing control and like doing all these things with their powers and stuff like that. But then you have all these little things that start coming out. And I'm thinking, as a person, I mean, at the same time, she's this young adult, not young adult, new adult age, like in her early 20s. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you can only take so much before you literally explode. So I'm like, I'm waiting for that moment. I'm like, is she even going to have that moment? Because I would love to see that,
I feel like we need a book without so many traveling involved. It feels they're constantly moving without purpose, and it gives us more questions than answers. There is a lot of traveling in these books, now that you point that out.
Yeah.
So we're going to go here, and then we're going to go here, and then we're going to go back here, and then we're going to go do this. And I'm like, what the hell?
How did you guys feel about Malik and Millie? Is that the Revenant's name? Millicent?
Yeah.
The heartmates.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
At least it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You go, Tori. Go.
Oh, I was just going to say, I love it. I mean, I'm all for like the angsty, tragic story of them. I don't know if she's ever going to write them, but like, I love it.
Yeah.
Don't they go off together at the end of the book?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So that might happen.
Well, but no, she runs off and he goes chasing him. So they're not going together.
Yeah.
But
he's going to go find her. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, I like that idea. It felt a little bit cliche that it was brother, sister kind of vibe. Because also I thought that heartmates was something that was rare.
Super rare.
So, but in my mind, it was like, well, fine. But, it's in their bloodline. So it was like, yeah, I can make this sense. In my mind, this makes sense.
I liked it as the motivation for him staying, because I didn't understand why he was not trying to escape the queen. And I also forgot about his bonded woman. What happened to her? That was horrible.
Yeah.
That was so sad.
It was so sad. Yeah. It was actually one of the scenes that to me was super sad. Also, when we see, I think we're losing Jess.
Uh-oh.
Can we keep the stream without her hosting? Well, I think we're in. Well, she will probably be back.
Yeah.
But another scene that to me was really sad was when Delano dies, the time that he dies. And I was like, no.
Yeah. For some reason, the woven have like a special place in my heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me write.
I was waiting for her to message to see.
Yeah. Wait a second. Anyway, which was your favorite scene? Meanwhile, I'm sure she will have this question.
I don't know if I have like an actual favorite. I think out of all the books, this was probably my least favorite, just because they had just too much stuff that was like, I don't know. I just like Poppy and Cass together.
Yeah.
I just like seeing them together. So like any moment that they are actually together and they have their banter back and forth. But I felt like this book was a lot of like extra things,
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, uh-oh.
No.
Oh my gosh, my computer just crashed. It's turning back on now.
Yeah. So Jess will be back in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally understand that. Like at the first moment when Cass and Poppy are together, it's like, yes, fireworks all the time.
And I
Although,
think that's why I continued reading this series, like,
Mm.
just because I love them, you know, and I'm so like, oh, there she is. Welcome back.
Sorry about that.
Welcome. We're talking about our favorite scene in the book. And I think mine was right by the end when she calls Sarah's name and she is all powerful, but also I think that as I love so much Sarah, seeing her here, it's very interesting. And also there's a clear gap of what we know from the books and what is supposed to be happening now. And I always like, but what happened? But just seeing her and seeing that she's so powerful and so mad, so angry, it was very compelling.
Yeah.
What was yours, Jess? Your favorite scene?
I'm guessing you said the ending was your favorite, because that would probably also be my favorite scene. It's just seeing her completely come into her power. Although, so Serafina is the one that, does she take control of her, or what exactly happens at that moment at the end of the book?
Yeah, go Tori.
I think that's what happened,
Okay.
but I don't know if that's actually like what it is. It seems like Issa, you said there's like this gap of like what we know and then what is happening, and you're like, well, what happened in between? I don't know, but that's what I assume.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, it seems that when I was reading it, it felt as Poppy being aware of Sedam and she saying like the scream was the scream of the both of us, stuff like that. But then she doesn't really remember a lot of stuff when she wakes up. So I'm not sure if she like what happened.
Yeah.
It felt like she was aware, but
And then sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was wondering if it's one of those things where she was like she acknowledged that it was her and Serafina, but like she just like let Serafina take over everything.
yeah, that makes
You know
sense.
what I mean? That's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
And me and Issa talked about this a little earlier, and Tori, I want to know what your opinion. Do you think Colas was awake already, or did he awaken at the end of this?
Like my theory, I think he was already awake, like, oh, was it the last book? Yeah, I think it was the last book. I feel like there was something happened. Oh, see, this is what happened. There's so much that happens in these books I can't like pinpoint, but there was something that someone said, something like, it was like an offhanded comment of like, oh, something, oh, this is something, I don't know, it was like something with the ground or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have highlighted it, but that's where I was like, I wonder if this is actually him. So I don't know. I have a theory. He wasn't awake the whole time, but it was like he was awakened by something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it says he was already, Nectus says that at the very end. And I was like, wait, then why did Isbeth stab Malik? Because I thought that was done to bring him back.
Yeah, but it is said that it is to free him. The point here is that we don't really know what's the difference between being awakened and being free, right?
Yeah.
So, but.
And what do you think about Isbeth killing Malik instead of Poppy?
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And that felt like it came out because apparently, did she just not want to kill Poppy? Is that what we're supposed to take from that?
I think she won't be able. Like, she felt that Poppy was going to be way more powerful than Malik, that was like a corpse at that point. So that's the only reasonable action for me, because she says like I couldn't, but it was like,
because she slit her own daughter's throat in the last book and like was fine with it. I know she's gonna come back, but it just seems like this woman doesn't have an issue like doing dirty things.
And she tried already with Millie, right? Like she did bad stuff to her. Yeah.
Same. And I have read it twice.
Same.
Still very confused.
And I think that's why, like, I don't know, going into the next book, I wish it wasn't just, well, reading that description, I wish it wasn't just Kaz's point of view, like going through everything, because I'm like, how is this supposed to help the development of the story? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Unless it's his book and we get answers like Issa, like you were talking about how like things were just like glossed over, you know, because Kaz has been around longer and all these things like that. Like maybe he has insight, but I'm like, why did you never say these things if you knew? I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm really nervous for the next book.
Yeah, me too.
I
Especially
think this felt like setup. Like it felt like it was setting up for Colas being the big bad and having like an epic last book. So I am hoping we get that.
Yeah. Were you guys or how did you feel about this book being called The War of Two Queens and not really having a war? Because, or did you feel that? Because to me it was a lot of conversation, but it actually felt that the end of the last book was way more, I'm gonna rage war and this is gonna start now. And then there was a lot of campaigning and gaining popularity and gaining, which I acknowledge that makes sense. But it felt that when they, like Poppy and Isbeth, talked, it was just like there was almost banter. And I didn't understand, like I didn't felt that it was a war here happening at
I
all.
think it was more like I see it. I mean, I was definitely thinking it was going to be like a physical war. You know what I mean? Like let's go, like both sides, just like go at it. Also, I love to see the Woven and I love to see Cass and Kieran. I love to see them like in battle. You know what I mean? Like Cass is such a fighter, but also at the same time, I think it was definitely more of a political war. Of you have these two powerful women, and I mean, part of me is like, oh, she's probably going around the whole thing of like women don't actually physically fight. But I'm like, no, I did want to see that, you know. But I think it was more so the political back and forth conversation war, you know.
Yeah, it might be. I had these expectations like Lord of the Ring fighting, expectations like the war, but yeah, maybe you're right. What did you think about it, Jess?
I think it was just referencing, wasn't the first war known as like the War of Two Kings?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it was just like going back to reference that. I wish there was a little bit more action because I feel like a Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, like that battle scene is one of my favorite scenes in the entire series. So I feel like she's able to write those scenes really well. So I would have enjoyed a little bit more in this book.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I'm hoping, I don't think it'll be in, I'm hoping that I don't think it's going to be in Kaz's book unless she's like, I don't know, we get like some of his parents' point of view with the wars and stuff like that. Like maybe he's like talking about it and stuff like that. I don't have like the biggest hope for the next book, but I have a lot of expectations for the last book. So, I mean, it's the last book. Like you have to go big or go home. You know what I mean?
Completely.
100% agree. Did your opinions change on Kaz's dad at all? You just reminded me of that because I really didn't like him going into this book, but I feel like it kind of turned around. No feelings.
Not so much.
I mean, I kind of I hate his mom. I still hate his mom.
Yes, agreed, 100%.
But I could tell from when the first time that I forgot what book it was, the first time that Poppy really met him, it was more like kind of not standoffish, and I could see when he was giving Kaz like this advice in one of the books. I felt like he was only doing certain things because that Kaz is his son and he knows his wife. So I didn't necessarily like hate him and now I love him. I feel about the same, but you could see how much he like grew in this book. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
he just seemed to trust her a lot more in this book. So more like inviting into the family and stuff like that. So I thought that was a nice moment for Poppy because she hasn't really had a great family life. All right. So what did you think of the joining?
I personally team joining. I was okay with it. I wasn't super like, if the joining was not happening, I would nonetheless be okay with it. Again, with the joining, were it to have less sex, also okay. So I was kind of like okay with the theme happening, but how, like, the concept of why they did it, which at the end didn't matter. Like, it made sense to me, but then afterwards, and we could talk about that later, but what they do afterwards, nonetheless, delivering Malik felt a little bit like weird. Like, you made me believe that this had an important role, and then no. But I nonetheless like the idea of the three of them being bonded. But the scene was so weird. So it made me very uncomfortable, because the fact of not knowing who is touching what, I was so confused. I couldn't keep track. And I was like, why are you doing it? Like, I'm already on it. Those are my feelings. So a little bit of a mess.
What about you, Tori?
I mean, I'm all for anything like that, you know. I remember when me and Sam, I think because we read this book for the first time together, she hated it. I mean, I'm fine with it. The joining was, I agree, it's a very confusing. I mean, like, I've read poly romances before and all that stuff. Usually you can like pinpoint whose hand is where, and I don't know if she meant to write it that way on purpose because she wants it to be like,
I think it was purposely vague.
Mm.
But I would prefer a little bit more detail, because I'm like, I love Kieran. I love Kieran and Poppy's relationship. And I understand like you, Isa, I understand the reason why it happened, to be bonded. But at the same time, I don't want anyone else touching Poppy but Kaz. Like, I'm all for them having this moment, them bonding. And I do not want to see it again. I want Kaz and Poppy to stay together and be together with both of them. I think that I do know, she made a lot of people mad putting that in there.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Oh my God, there are people. I mean, if you go through Goodreads, they ripped her apart for this. And it was because, you know, half the people wanted to see it, half the people didn't. And it's like, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I think that's why she wrote it vague, because I think she was trying to please kind of everyone.
Yeah.
And it backfired a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still believe that the fact that it didn't make sense, it weakened the part a little bit, right? Like, we're doing initially the joining to save Kieran, but then they deliver Malik nonetheless. So, but how did you feel about the joining, Jess, before?
I was team joining just because there had been hints to it, and she had been talking about it for the entire series. So, like, I wasn't surprised at all. I think that if she was gonna do that scene, she might as well have like thrown in some details and like done a really good scene. I don't like the reason behind why the joining happened, just because immediately after we do the thing that we were trying to prevent. So didn't love that. And I also, a lot of people are like speculating that now it's going to be like a throuple situation. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I think this was just like an act that was done to elongate like all of their lives. And now Poppy and Cass are still going to be like the main couple.
I hope so.
Yes, I hope so.
Because I will riot if it's, listen, I will riot if it's not Poppy and Cass to the end, because I don't know. I will riot. I will.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Didn't mind the ultimately pointless joining scene, but I spent the whole time trying to figure out the structure of limbs. It ended up like a fantasy twister in my brain. 100%. Like, it's a very interestingly done scene. Like,
yeah.
What scares me a little is that if you recall correctly, Cass told Poppy at one point that if Kieran finds his mate in the future, there might be another joining. I did forget about that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, like, at that point, like, I don't mind it because you clearly know the reasoning behind it, you know? Like, it's just to prolong his or her life, whoever Kieran's going to mate with. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I feel like it's going to be
more confusing sex.
Yeah, but like, it's also been, you know, Kaz and Kieran has said like we've shared women before.
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't surprise me, and I don't find it weird. I don't know. Maybe it's because I read way more romance than some of these people, so I'm like, oh, this is nothing compared to like other things I read. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't mind that. I don't think it's something that we will see. Like, she's not going to write this. I don't think she'll write this. Like, I don't think Kieran's going to find his mate within the next 2 books.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Unless she writes a novella. That's like, here, this is for those who want to read it, have fun. I wrote it for you, type of a thing.
I want him and Reaver together.
Really?
Really?
I love them bantering though. Like their back and forth is so good.
Yeah, I want them together.
That's the one thing I think JLA does well, is that each person has their own unique banter. Like Kieran and Poppy, their progression with their banter. I mean, Poppy and Kat too, they've had their own little banter. Reaver coming in and having theirs. Like each person, it's distinct in their banter. It's not like all the same word blends together.
Yeah.
That's entertaining for me.
What do you guys, I meant to ask this earlier, what do you think Tawny is?
I really don't know. I thought she was going to be almost a god, a demigod, something like that.
Yeah.
But
I thought I was watching my video where I like guessed what was going to happen in this book, and I thought she was going to end up being like the harbinger and like wake up and like try to kill everyone. That obviously did not happen. But I did think it was interesting that she saw the original Victor.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Agreed.
I wonder if I haven't reread A Light in the Flame yet. Like I've only read it once, and I honestly don't remember a lot of that book. So it's interesting when I do go back and reread it. Like I remember The War of Two Queens, because I think this might be my 3rd time going through it. But I wonder if there's like something of what Tawny is that's mentioned in those books that crosses over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think anything's been mentioned though.
We have Demise, which is what, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is what Isbeth is. But I don't know how that's different than, they're all kind of blending together at this point.
Yeah. Like I said, the tiering of the gods, like, you know, you have the gods, and then you have like the primals, and then you have all this the crap in between. I think that part is a lot. Like, that's too much. I wish she would have like simplified it to where it's just gods, primals, no in between, no one else. You know, we already have the ascended, the vampire. You have all these other things. Like, too much. Just too much.
Completely agree.
I agree. But then, what do you guys thought about them delivering Malek to Isbeth, and also finding Malek very easily,
very quickly, right? Like I feel like we could have spent more time doing that and less of all of the beginning half of this book.
Yep, 100% agree. That's why I skipped the beginning, because I was like,
legit, yeah, makes sense.
I was listening at 3.5 speed for like the first half of it, because I was like, I just need to get through this. I need the information, and we need to get to the good point.
I just flipped through my book and found the chapters where like things start to pick up, which was about halfway through. I was like, okay.
I'm trying to look up the prophecy, because I think we answered almost everything now at the end of this book.
I totally forgot about the prophecy.
So we know that the first daughter is Millie.
Yes.
We got that. And then the second daughter is Poppy.
Yes.
And was Millie supposed to marry Malek originally?
Malek as in
the brother.
The M names, they confused me when you.
Oh, Nectus and Nyctos. I was so like, why are all these names?
Malek and Malik is one? Yeah. I don't know why she did that.
I think so. Yeah. But yes.
But aren't they heartmates though?
Yeah. Okay, so it says a first daughter with blood full of fire, fated for the one promised king. So if the first daughter is Millie, I think was she supposed to originally marry Malek, and then that whole culling didn't.
Oh yeah, because he's older than Kaz, and he was supposed to take over. Yeah.
Okay. And the second daughter with blood full of ash and ice, the other half of the future king.
Yes. So that is Poppy and Kaz.
Yes.
The future king.
The other half. Okay. Together, they will remake the realms and usher in the end. So we got all that.
So happy ending for us. Okay.
Yeah. And so it will begin that the last chosen blood spilled, the great conspirator, birthed from the flesh and fire of the primals, will awaken as the harbinger and bringer.
That is Coles, right? Like the great conspirator, it's Coles.
Yes. Okay. Oh, wait. is the prophecy. Did we get more prophecy in this book?
I thought we got like another.
Yeah, we got another section. So the next section is for the one born of the blood and ash, the bearer of 2 crowns, and the bringer of life to mortal God and Draken, a silver beast with blood seeping from its jaws of fire, bathed in the flames of the brightest moon, to ever be birthed, will become one, and the great power will stumble and fall, some all at once, and they will fall through the fires into a void of nothing. Those left standing will tremble as they kneel, will weaken as they become small, as they become forgotten. For finally, the primal rises, the giver of blood and bringer of bone.
Nope, I lost it.
What do we think is going on there?
Nope, I lost it. Lost me.
Yeah.
I actually think that she's gonna bring back another power. Like, it's not enough to be the primal of life and death. I think she will figure out something with blood and bones.
Well, yeah, considering the last book is a primal of blood and bone, but like.
But this hasn't been mentioned, right, up till this point.
Never. I haven't heard that.
And it's in the prophecy as well.
But we
No?
get this, like, it's like she's adding on to the prophecy as it goes.
To be continued.
Exactly what it did. So a silver beast with blood seeping from its jaws of fire.
Is that the Wolven? Or is that the Draken?
The Draken, right?
That could be because we're still missing a Draken, right? The girl Draken that...
Yes, the daughter of Nectas.
The little baby in the prequels, yeah.
Yeah, so we're still missing her.
Jadis, that's her name.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
I love how excited we are when we pick up something. Yes, it was that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the beast, the silver beast is Jadis. What was the lines after that?
I think, do you have it so that you can present your screen and we can dissect that paragraph?
That was a lot. I don't remember the prophecy extending that much.
Here, I'll send you guys like the last bit.
Okay.
On Instagram because I don't know how to do it.
That's fine.
Okay.
I also completely... Do we get any update on Jadis in this book?
No.
No.
The greatest powers will stumble and fall. Some all at once. I wonder, and the great powers will stumble and fall, some all at once, and they will fall through the fires into a void of nothing. I wonder if like that's the rest of like the Ascended, like the.
It could be.
I am thinking now that Poppy will become a dragon. Or she will do something with them. Yeah, right? Like a silver beast with blood seeping from its jaw of fire, bathed in the flames of the brightest moon, to ever be birthed, will become one.
She was born on the full moon, right? That was mentioned, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Seraphina's power was always kind of like this silver thing, right?
Oh, yep.
I do agree with this person. They said, why in the middle of a series do we need a cast POV book? Like, finish the effing series, and then you can write as many side books as you want.
Agreed.
Teasing a POV book since I think A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. So I know a lot of people did want it, and I was one of them. I'm kind of over it now, though.
No. I think it's cute. Like, I'm just like, oh, he ran off. Okay, that's kind of how I feel.
I agree, April. I feel exactly the same. But now she might, she's actually been my landlord. Yes.
Because then it says, those left standing will tremble as they kneel, will weaken as they become small, as they become forgotten. I think it's like the Ascended that was created.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as Poppy rises, she's going to, like, smush them.
Oh, wait, I cheated. So I looked up what this person that like posted the prophecy said. And several people think this is Nyktos and Sarah producing heirs who are Iris and Malek. Nyktos can shift into the form of a silver wolf at the end of A Light in the Flame. Sarah states that Nyktos in his wolf form is a silver beast bathed in the moonlight.
But what?
Additionally, Sarah's consort title is The Brightest Moon.
But still, if Poppy is their granddaughter, it can still be referring to her, or not?
It could be.
Do you know they want you melting
I
flame?
think Nyctos is just gonna pop up and like just kill everyone in a wolf form, is my guess.
Cool. That's cool.
It says, "For finally the primal rises, the giver of blood and the bringer of bone, the primal of blood and ash." Like, obviously that's Poppy.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're missing something of Nyctos and Seraphina's powers. Maybe that's in the Light of Flame. Like I said, I really don't remember anything in that book. But we also have another book in the prequel.
Yes.
But is that coming out before or after the last book?
Well, it's coming out in October. It's coming out before the last. It's coming out after the POV book, but before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, and it's totally fair. I love JLA, but she is no Sarah J. Maas.
No,
not at all.
I see the potential, but she is no Sarah J. Maas.
No.
Yeah, I'm all for this too.
I agree.
It's expanded, so it's another part of the prophecy.
Let me see. I actually have. Well, A Light in the Flame. There's a silver beast on the cover.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, this is I don't know. This is the Barnes and Noble edition. I just bought this because I don't think I had a physical copy, but
I bought that during the hardback sale.
That's when I bought it. Okay. We got a map. I want to say the prophecies at the
beginning. J. Maas creates better characters, so yeah.
No.
I don't believe I'm gonna be understanding the prophecy.
I like
it was making sense. Like, I was all about it. I totally forgot they added like another paragraph to it, though.
Yeah.
But I can live, and I think I can still enjoy the story without really needing the prophecy to make sense completely.
Yeah. No.
Because I actually didn't understand like all of the parts in the past. So I'm like, fine, cool. Let's keep moving forward. I think that's my main vibe with this series overall. Like, not really understanding it, but enjoying whenever Cass and Poppy are together.
I agree. It definitely, I feel like it's shifted a lot from the first book, because I loved the first book so much. And now the books kind of have a different feel, but I'm already invested. So like,
yeah, totally.
Isn't there something with Seraphina and Nyctos loving each other?
Yeah, they can't love or something.
Nyctos can't, right?
No, exactly. He made a deal or something, right? Because he knew that he was going to be vulnerable. So it's not that his heart is of stone. It's something like that, right? Or I'm just coming up with this now.
No, I just couldn't remember if that was in A Light in the Flame or if that was in the last book.
It was at the very end of A Shadow in the Ember. I think he's
okay.
finding out something, and he's like, "Oh, I can't
find the prophecy in there. I don't know. I thought it was at the beginning, but it's not. At the end, it literally the last is like a beast bathed in moonlight. So yeah, that was definitely there. This makes me just want to reread A Court of Silver Flames. I don't know why.
I just did it. I had a fantastic time.
I haven't reread that since I read it, but.
All right. Well, do we have anything else to say about this book?
Well, after reading this, how do you feel about Cass and Poppy versus Nyctos and Seraphina? Like, who do you like more?
Nyctos and Sarah.
I think Nyctos and Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My heart.
And, but because also Nyctos is so very lovable, and they seemed like what you were saying, Tori, at the beginning, that they are a little bit more equal. And I think that now the dynamic that Poppy and Cass have are really unbalanced, I think. And I'm not enjoying it as much, but...
That makes sense.
I think without this book, I would have still liked Cass and Poppy more. It's just, I miss the old Cass. I just feel like we lost a lot of his personality in this book. Yeah. I do remember this. Nyctos can't love. He took out something, but I forgot the word.
Yeah.
Another god has it though, right? So he has to like try to get it back. Am I remembering that correctly?
I thought it was turned to stone, so I'm not remembering.
I know Camlin's heart is stone. I don't remember.
No, I think I'm mixing this with another book that I just read. So
I'm interested in The Light and the Flame though, so
yeah,
to reread it because I haven't reread that one at all.
Nictus and Sarah.
This is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for them to. I mean, we did see Sarah at the end of War to Queens like come into Poppy, but like I really want them to like merge.
Yeah.
Completely. Because only seeing Seraphina and not seeing Niktos, it makes me think like, is Niktos like dead, like gone? You know?
Yeah.
Wait, don't we see him in? Didn't we see Niktos at one point?
Oh yeah, when they. I mean, when they went underground, right?
Yeah.
But I meant like, I feel like that was more like not tangible Niktos. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I don't know. It was more like a ghost type thing.
Yeah, it was here for a moment. Say something. Bye.
Yeah, but with Seraphina like coming in, I'm like, oh, is she like?
Yeah.
Gonna...
Also, can we please talk about the fact that everyone calls Sarah the consort only, and that Nictus has gotten all of the praise of being the primal of life and death? Because it is brought up at the end of the book. I think Poppy just said like, but this is very sexist or something like that. Like, and it isn't fair. We should be having Seraphina this, Seraphina that, instead of Nictus this, Nictus that. Like this bullshit. That's kind of like what happens. And I completely agree with Poppy saying that. But I just thought it was weird also for Jennifer Alarmento to explain it that way. And
yeah, because that confused me. That definitely confused me because I remember with Seraphina and Niktos, it was like Seraphina is the one who has a lot of power.
exactly.
Like, it's known in the blood and ash world that like it's Niktos everything. So I wonder if there's something that's going to be
because
explained.
Yeah, they say that this, like, she's only referred to as the consort because she wanted it that way. And I am like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
No, that confused me because I thought I missed something.
And it also seems, don't they kind of like refer to her as being dangerous? Like, does she? I'm thinking she probably does something that's very.
Seraphina, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like, I wonder if she loses control.
That would make sense.
What if like she loses control and like Niktos has to like put her down? Like,
Ooh.
I kind of like that.
I don't know. That's how my theories come up. It's just random thoughts like that. Like, that's a theory, we'll go with that.
No, they're not random. They're informed.
I was still trying to find the answer to why Niktos can't love, and it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
I think it explains it a little bit at the beginning of Light and the Flame, but I don't know. I hope so.
Okay. I give up. I'll look it up there.
Yeah. Who else?
Poppy? Doesn't think about Light and the Flame.
No, Seraphina.
Oh, Seraphina.
Sometimes the books like merge together. Like I forget what happens in one. I think it's the other, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I do think I picked up on more things reading this right after rereading A Light in the Flame, because I hadn't done a reread prior to picking up A War of Two Queens the first time.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Still confused. Still trekking along, trying to figure things out.
Still confused, but we all still like the series. So
yeah.
That's the word. Cardia.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
April, thank you so much.
Thank you, April. You just saved me so much searching. Shut off of them. Okay, so that's answered. All right, well, thank you everyone who joined us for this. The next live show, I think your channel, Tori? Light and Flame? Okay. And I don't think we've set a date for that yet, but we will.
Sometime in July, the beginning of July.
Okay. Sounds good.
Lovely.
All right. Bye.
Bye.